Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Management Studies, SOMS, Bachelor's Degree Programs, BBA in Retailing, BBA, Retailing, Diploma in Retailing, DIR, First Year, BRL-001 Overview of Retailing, Unit-2 Retail Consumer 2.0 Objectives. After studying this unit, you will be able to explain the meaning of retail consumer behavior, discuss the need for understanding consumer behavior, analyze the factors which influence retail. Buyer, describe the stages involved in buyer's decision-making process while buying a product service, and identify the situational variables on shopping behavior. 2.1 Introduction. You are aware a retail market is the set of actual and potential buyers of a product, service, and retail marketing refers to human activity directed at satisfying needs and desires through exchange process. This means that while marketing a product or service, you aim at satisfying the needs and desires of buy and potential users of that product, service. The ultimate end user of a product or service offered by a retailer is called a retail consumer. In order to develop and implement a strategy in retailing, first it is essential to understand the profile, tastes, preferences, likes, dislikes, consumption patterns, process of buying, economic standards, cultural aspects, etc. of the buyers of that product or service. The ability to understand the consumer's needs is the key to design a successful retail strategy. Retailing is essentially the marketing concept of a customer-centered approach. Thus, there is a need for you to study and understand the retail buyer and consumer behavior. We start this unit by understanding the meaning of consumer behavior and need for understanding consumer behavior. This is followed by the distinction between buyer retailing and consumer and types of consumers. We then analyze the factors influencing consumer behavior and examine the stages of consumer buying process. Finally, you will study the influence of situational variables on shopping behavior, consumer images of retail stores, and a sample questionnaire to know the consumer profile. To point to meaning of consumer behavior, one thing that we have in common is that we are all consumers. In fact, everybody in this world is a consumer. In our lives, we are buying and consuming a variety of goods and services. However, we all have different tastes, likes and dislikes, and adopt different behavior patterns while making purchase decisions. You may prefer to use Colgate toothpaste, Synthol toilet soap, and Halo shampoo, while your spouse may prefer Neem toothpaste, Lux soap, and Shikakai shampoo. Similarly, you may have a certain set of preferences in food, clothing, books, magazines, recreational activities, types of savings, and the stores from where you prefer to shop, which may be different not only from those of your spouse but also your friends, neighbors, and colleagues. For example, take the case of two-wheelers. You may prefer Bajaj Chetak, your friend may like LML, Vespa, and another person may prefer Hero Honda. Similarly, take the case of smokers, where some people like cigars, some prefer BDs, and others like cigarettes. Again, within each category also different persons prefer different brands. Thus, each consumer is unique, and this uniqueness is reflected in the consumption behavior and pattern as well as process of purchase. The study of consumer behavior provides us with reason why consumers differ from one another in buying and using products and services. Understanding the consumer behavior patterns is one of the key challenges faced by retailers. This is the starting stage of strategy formation. We know that it is very difficult to map consumer behavior as it follows no fixed and steady pattern. What products and services do we buy? Why do we buy? How often do we buy? from, where do we buy, how do we buy, etc., are the issues which are dealt with in the discipline of consumer behavior. Consumer behavior can be defined as those acts of individuals, consumers, directly involved in obtaining, using, and disposing of economic goods and services, including the decision processes that precede and determine these acts. 2.3 Need for understanding consumer behavior. Consumer behavior is helpful in understanding the purchase behavior and preferences of different consumers. As consumers, we differ in terms of our sex, age, education, occupation, income, family setup, religion, nationality, and social status. Because of these differences, we have different needs, and we only buy those products and services which we think will satisfy our needs. In retail marketing terminology, as you know, specific types or groups of consumers buying different products or variation of the same basic product represent different retail market segments. To successfully capture these different retail market segments, the retail marketing manager needs appropriate retail marketing strategies which he can design only when he understands the factors which account for these differences in consumer behavior and tastes. In today's world of rapidly changing technology, consumer tastes are also changing rapidly. To survive in such a rapidly changing market, a Fin has to constantly understand the latest consumer trends and tastes. Consumer behavior provides invaluable clues and guidelines to retail marketers on new technological areas which they should explore. 16. A management which believes in the philosophy of modern retail marketing concept must naturally proceed by identifying and understanding the prospective customers and their buying behavior. To understand the potentiate consumers' tie-ins, to understand the consumer's goals which may be long-term or short-term in nature. Once the goals are identified, the retailer can evolve the best possible means to attract the target consumer as per the requirement. The shopper's response to the retail mix has an impact on the retailing firm's success in the long run. But many difficulties are to be anticipated in understanding the prospective consumers. First of all, people rarely ever give their goals any conscious thought nor express them in a clear-cut way. Even if a few goals are occasionally felt, they are rarely expressed in the order of importance. Again, the means selected to achieve the proclaimed goals may or may not be rational. Many individuals frequently decide to satisfy small needs that confront them at a given moment of time without paying much attention to their long-term goals of greater significance to their life in the future. Most of such goals and means are changed quite often. Yet it is also a fact that every person sets goals and seeks means of achieving them. However, no two persons have identical sets of ultimate or intermediary sets of goals. There can be only broad generalizations. When target groups and T5 IR specific goals can be guessed with a fair level of accuracy, then an appropriate advertising message and medium can be selected. Psychology, social psychology, sociology, cultural anthropology, and economics are the areas that provide useful insights into concern. Behavior. Similarly, social class and demographic methods of retail market ent Lear 71, although still important, need to be combined lower am, meaningful retail mixing r wise. Government agencies and other distinctive groups cc situte special and markets that escape lt unique narcotic problems and opportunities. The markets must be analyzed in depth if their potentials are to be capitalized. 2.4 Distinction between buyer and consumer after having an understanding about the importance to know the consumer behavior, it is necessary to be clear as to who is the buyer and who is the consumer. This distinction will help the retailer to know who should be the subject of study in consumer behavior. The person who makes the actual purchase of a product or services is called the buyer, and the person who consumes or uses the product or service is called consumer. Often, the person who purchases the product is not the person who actually consumes or uses that product. A mother buys toys and clothes for consideration by her young children. The mother is the buyer, but the actual consumers are the children. A car is purchased by the husband or the wife, but is used by all the members of the family. Thus, in the family context, you may either have the situation where the buyer is distinct from the consumer, or the buyer is only one of the many consumers. Besides buyer and consumer, any person in the family or even from outside the family may influence the buying decision in the role of an initiator or influencer or decider. The initiator is the person who first suggests or gets the idea of buying the particular product or service. An influencer is a person whose views or advice carries some weight in making THC 111131 decision. The decider is the person who ultimately determines any part or the entire buying decisions whether to buy or not, how to buy, where to buy, etc. The question that arises is who should be the subject of study 111. Consumer behavior. Should we study the buyer or the consumer or the other influencing persons? To overcome this problem, in many instances it is the household or THC family and not the individual who is considered the subjects of the study. However, a person involved in retail marketing should have a very sharply defined focus for retail marketing strategy, especially promotional strategy. You must identify the best prospect for your products, whether it is the buyer or the user. But even when the consumer is distinct from the buyer, the consumer's likes as dislikes, taste, etc. influence the buyers from the buyer decision in the purchase of a specific product or brand. Thus, many companies focus their promotion at both the user and the buyer. Consider the promotional message of Maggi noodles and Rasna soft drink concentrate. The taste and fun aspects of both these products are meant to appeal to the kids who are the major consumers, while the convenience, in case of noodles, and economy, in the case of Rasna, are meant to appeal to all the mothers who are the buyers. 2.5 Factors influencing the retail consumer behavior. Consumer behavior is affected by a host of variables, ranging from personal motivations, needs, attitudes and values, personality characteristics, socioeconomic and cultural background, age, sex, professional status, to social influences of various kinds exerted by family, friends, colleagues and society as a whole. The combinations of these various factors produce a different impact on each of us as manifested in our different behavior. As consumers, consumer behavior results from individual and environmental influences. Consumers often purchase goods and services to achieve their ideal self-image and to project the self-image they want others to accept. Behavior is, therefore, determined by the individual's psychological makeup and the influences of others. In other words, consumer behavior is a function of the interaction of consumers' personal influences and the pressures exerted upon them by outside forces in the environment. Understanding consumer behavior requires an understanding of the nature of these influences. The basic determinants of retail consumer behavior include the individual's needs, motives, perceptions, and attitudes. The interaction of these factors with influences from the environmental factors causes the consumer to act. All the factors that influence the retail consumer behavior can be classified into four broad groups. 1. Psychological factors. 2. Personal factors. 3. Social factors. And 4. Cultural factors. Look at Figure 2.1 carefully and study the factors grouped in each of these four categories. Fig. 2.1 Factors influencing retail consumer behavior. 2.5.1 Psychological factors, the starting point in the purchase decision process in the recognition of a felt need. A. Need is simply the lack of something useful. We all have needs and we consume different goods and services with the expectation that they'll help fulfill these needs. When a need is sufficiently pressing, it directs the person to seek its satisfaction. It is known as motive. Thus, motives are inner states that direct people towards the goal of satisfying a felt need. Psychological factors refer to the inner aspects of an individual. An understanding of the individual behavior or psychology guides the retailer's segmentation strategy. Consumers respond differently towards the same retail marketing due to their respective motives, perception level of involvement and attitude. Motivation. The healthy person is primarily motivated by her needs to develop and actualize her fullest potentialities and capacities. Motivation is a prerequisite for any action including the buying. It stimulates the need. If you have an illness, you are motivated to buy a medicine. The need to have latest fashion in clothes, mobile phones, etc. is also a motivation. Thus, individual behavior resulting from motivation is affected by how stimuli are perceived. Perception. Perception means that each person attributes to incoming stimuli received through five senses. They are see, hear, touch, taste, and smell. To perceive is to see or hear or touch or taste or smell something. Perception is the process of the mind selecting, organizing and interpreting and reality. Several factors influencing one's perception. Perception of incoming stimuli is greatly affected by attitudes about them. In fact, the decision to buy a product is based on currently held attitudes about the product, the store, and the salesperson. Attitudes. Attitudes are a person's enduring ability, favorable or unfavorable, evaluations, emotional feelings, pro or against, actio, or tendencies in regard to some object of idea. People use their attitude to judge a particular product or service offered by the retailer. If a customer feels that a store is expensive or the is rendered are of low quality, she avoids those stores. Reliability, stability, responsibility, dependability and credibility are the strong messages that a retailer is required to project. Notions are extremely important as this drives buying. Behavioral traits like workaholic, impulsive, self-confident, friendliness, adaptability, ambitious, introversion, and extroversion. These traits can be used to represent consumer buying behavior. Attitudes are formed over a period of time through individual experiences and learning. Learning is the process of acquiring knowledge through past experiences. If you visited a store, the treatment you receive there will be the criteria for your next visit. Salesperson's attitude, humble presentation of products, information, free sampling, trails, etc. are also some criteria where the consumer learn about a product and its attributes. If the customer sees, hears, feels, tastes, or smells a product, she learns more about the product and its attributes. A retailer should encourage a consumer to touch and feel the product so that his visit can turn into buying experience. By offering customer satisfaction, the retailer can be rest assured of having a loyal customer, which is easy to retail than to generate a new customer. 2.5.2 Personal factors. A retail consumer's purchase decisions are also affected by his personal characteristics such as age, sex, stage in family life cycle, education, occupation, income, lifestyle, his overall personality and overall self-concept. We shall now discuss some of these influence, demographic factors and life cycle stage. The first factor influencing a buyer's decision is his age. The need for different products and services changes with age. Babies and children have special needs for products such as milk powder, baby food 5, and toys. Young adults need clothes, recreational and educational facilities, transportation, and a host of other age and fashion-related consumption needs. There are certain physiological differences between men and women which is resulting for their having different consumption needs. Women need specialized medical facilities for pregnancy and delivery. Their requirement of clothes and cosmetics is different from that of men. Each gender thus has its own need for specific products and services. Education and occupation. Education widens a person's horizons, refines his tastes, and makes his outlook more cosmopolitan. An educated person is more likely to consume education facilities, books, magazines, and other knowledge-oriented products and services. In India, for example, we find that educated families are more inclined towards adopting family planning than families which have no educational background. The occupation in which a person is engaged also shapes the consumption needs. People following specialized occupations such as photography, music, dance, carpentry, etc., need special tools and equipment. But apart from this specific need, the status and role of person within an organization affects his consumption behavior. Chief executives would buy 3-piece suits of the best fabric, handmade leather briefcase and use services of airlines and 5-star hotels. A junior manager or blue-collar worker in the same organization may also buy a 3-piece suit, but he compromises on quality. Income. The income of a person has an extremely important influence on his consumption behavior. He may wish to buy certain goods and services, but his income may become a constraint. Income in this context really refers to the income available for spending, i.e., income after tax, provident fund, and other statutory deduction. The person's attitude towards spending versus saving and his borrowing power are also important influencing factors. Small size packaging in sachets for products such as tea, shampoo, toothpaste, etc. are meant for the lower income customers who cannot afford a one-time large outlay of money on such products. Personality. Personality is the sum total of an individual's psychological traits, characteristics, motives, habits, attitudes, beliefs, and outlook. Personality is the very essence of individual differences. In consumer behavior, personality as those inner, psychological characteristics that both determine and reflect how a person responds to his environmental stimuli. There has been a great deal of research into the personality with the objective of predicting consumer behaviors in terms of product and brand choice. The assumption in all personality-related research has been that different types of personalities can be classified, and each classified can be used to identify and predict that response. In case of products such as cigarettes, beer, and cars, personality has been used to segment the retail market. For instance, note the runaway success of Charms cigarettes advertised by an urban, young, modern, carefree personality for appealing to the potential retail market segment of students and other young people. In contrast, Surf detergent powder is promoted with the help of Lalitaji, a middle-class traditional forthright and objective housewife, these are just the right personality variables that would appeal to a potential customer of surf lifestyle. Lifestyle is defined as patterns in which people live, as expressed by the manner in which they spend money and time on various activities and interests. Lifestyle is a function of our motivations, learning, attitudes, beliefs and opinion, social class, demographic factors, personality, etc. While reading this unit, you are playing the role of a student. But at the same time, you also have your career, family and social roles to play. The manner in which you blend these different roles reflects your lifestyle. The different lifestyles are used for retail market segmentation, product positioning and for developing promotional campaigns, including new products. 2.5.3 Social factors. Consumer behavior is also influenced by social factors such as reference groups, family, social roles, social status and opinion leaders. Reference groups. As a consumer, your decision to purchase and use certain products and services is influenced by the people around you with whom you interact and the various social groups to which you belong. The groups with whom you interact directly or indirectly influence your purchase decisions. There may be indirect reference groups and direct reference. Indirect reference groups comprise those individuals or groups with whom an individual does not have any direct face-to-face contact, such as film stars, TV stars, sportsmen, politicians, etc. For example, celebrities like film stars and sports heroes are well-known people in their specific field of activity who are admired and their fans aspire to emulate their behavior. Soft drinks, thumbs up, shaving using celebrities from the sports and film fields. Hidden in this appeal is the subtle inducement to the customer to identify himself with the use of the product in question. In the case of a direct reference group, the individual is a member of the group. Direct reference group, which exerts a significant influence on consumers' purchase decisions and behavior, can be classified into 6 categories. These are I. The family, 2. Friendship groups, 3. Formal social groups, 4. Formal shopping groups, 5. Consumer action groups, and 6. Work groups. Family. The family is the most important of all reference groups and we shall discuss it in detail. The family, as a unit, is an important consumer of many products which are purchased for consumption by all family members. It is a source of major influence on the individual members' buying behavior. It is from parents that we imbibe most of our values, attitudes, beliefs and purchase behavior patterns. Long after an individual has ceased to live with his parents, their influence on the subconscious mind still continues to be great. In our country, where children continue to live with their parents even after attaining adulthood, the parents' influence is extremely important. Within the family, different members play different roles. Marketers are interested in finding out exactly the role played by individual members so that they can appropriately design their promotion strategy to suit these differing roles. An individual may participate in many groups. His position within each group can be defined in terms of the activities he is expected to perform. You are probably a manager, and when you are in a work situation you play that role. However, at home you play the role of spouse and parent. Thus, in different social positions you play different roles. Each of these roles influences your purchase decisions. As a manager, you would like to buy clothes which reflect your status within the organization, such as safari suit, 3-piece suit, tie, leather shoes, etc. But at home, where you are in a relaxed and informal situation, you would prefer clothes which are comfortable rather than formal, and you may wear shirts, jeans, kurta pajama, dhoti or lungi, stahis. Each role that a person plays has status, which is the relative prestige accorded by society. Status is often measured by the degree of influence an individual exerts on the behavior and attitude of others. People buy and use products which reflects their status. The managing director of a company, for instance, may drive a Mercedes to communicate his status in society. He may go to Europe or USA for a holiday, rather than going to Missouri or Ooty. Opinion leaders. A consumer is also influenced by the advice he receives from his retailing friends, neighbors, relatives, and colleagues about what products and services he should buy. This process of influencing is known as the opinion leadership process and is described as the process by which one person, the opinion leader, informally influences the actions or attitudes of others, opinion receivers. For instance, during lunch hour you may casually ask your colleague to recommend a good scooter mechanic. Or you discuss with your relatives and neighbors what brand of TV they possess and try to ascertain which is the brand recommended by most before purchasing a TV for your home. Similarly, many people seek the advice of opinion leaders in case of specific products. People who have acquired considerable knowledge and experience in a particular field are thought of as opinion leaders in that area. Advertisers and marketers are concerned with reaching the opinion leader and ensuring that they receive the intended information which they can, in turn, pass on to opinion receivers. 2.5.4 Cultural factors. Retail consumer behavior is also being strongly influenced by the cultural factors. Marketers normally study three cultural factors: 1. Buyer's culture, 2. Subculture, and 3. Social class. Let us study these factors briefly. Culture. The study of culture encompasses all aspects of a society such as its religion, knowledge, language, laws, customs, traditions, music, art, technology, work patterns, products, etc. All these factors make up the unique, distinctive personality of each society. For our purpose of studying consumer behavior, culture can be defined as the sum total of learners' beliefs, values and customs which serve to guide and direct the consumer behavior of all members of that society. The kind of products and advertising appeals that can work effectively in a society depend largely on its cultural background. In the American society, individualism, freedom, achievement, success, material comfort, efficiency and practicality are values which are followed and imbibed by the younger children. Products and services which fulfill these values are most successfully marketed in America. In the Indian society, on the contrary, conformity, spiritualism, respect for the elderly, traditionalism and education are some of the dominant anti-cultural values. However, our society is undergoing a cultural change and you can notice some major cultural shifts which have far-reaching consequences for the introduction of a vast variety of new products and services. Subculture. Within the large framework of a society, there exist many subcultures. A subculture is an identifiable distinct cultural group which will following the dominant cultural values of the overall society also has its own beliefs, values and customs that set it apart from other members of the same society. Every member of a society is a member of several subgroups and the consumer's purchase decision is a result of the influence of these various subgroups. The marketer must understand how the specific subcultural groups interact with each other and exert their influence on the members' consumption behavior. These subcultures offer ready-made market segments to the marketers who can position his product to meet the specific needs of each subculture, social class. In every society there is inequality is social status amongst different people, so the people are categorized into different social classes. Social classes can be defined as relatively permanent and homogeneous divisions in a society in which individuals or families sharing similar values, lifestyles, interests and behavior can be placed. Social classes are usually ranked in a hierarchical order ranging from low status to high status. But if we compare different social classes, we would find differences in values, attitudes and behavior between each class. Study Table 4.1 carefully and analyze how the buying behavior patterns are different of various social classes. Table 2.1 Major social classes and their dominant characteristics and buying behavior patterns. Look at the screen. Besides the above discussed factors, there are some common factors which also influence the customer's buying behavior. They are range of merchandise available in the retail outlet, convenience of shopping at a particular outlet place, time of travel to reach the outlets, etc. 2.6 Stages of consumer buying decision process. If you intend to buy a car or a color TV, you start thinking on various aspects like the need, finance, product information, product image, cost of repair and spare parts, after sales service, etc. Knowingly or unknowingly, you undergo different stages while taking purchase decision, which is termed as decision-making process for buying a product, service. Thus, in making a buying decision, the consumer goes through the 5 stages. They are 1. Need recognition, 2. Information search, 3. Evaluation of alternatives, 4. Purchase decisions and 5. Post-purchase evaluation behavior. Let us now discuss these stages. Need recognition. Generally, the need for a product starts at the time where you recognize the need for that particular product. It also is when you are aware of your need for a product or service. Mr. Rohit feels very uncomfortable carrying his papers, files and lunch box in a plastic bag to his office. He feels the need for a briefcase to carry the things. A need may be classified as psychological and functional. Psychological needs associate with personal gratification when you may owe the product. On the other hand, functional need is directly related to the efficiency of the product. Consumer may realize the need in different situations such as the product which Helsh is using why not meet his expectations, or a new model with more functions may enter into market, or the product may about to obsolete, exhaust or stimulated by an advertisement and feels the need to own it. Information search. After recognizing the need for a specific product or service, the next step involves the collection of information on various aspects of that product, like models, price, functions, brands, sizes, performance, after-sales service and so on. The consumer may collect this information by recalling past experiences of that product, or from marketing sources like advertisement, salespersons, or from non-marketing sources like experience of friends, colleagues, neighbors, consumer agencies, etc. Based on the information gathered, the consumer goes to another stage for evaluation of the information among the alternate options. In case of Mr. Rohit, he has gathered enough information about different lines of briefcases available in the retail outlets. 3. Evaluation of alternatives. Mr. Rao will make his final decision using certain evaluation criteria. The most commonly used criteria are I. Product attribute, 2. The relative importance of each attribute to the consumer, 3. Brand image, and 4. Attitudes towards the different brands or alternatives under consideration. For instance, the product attributes of the molded plastic briefcases are unbreakable, lightweight, spaciousness, reliability of locking system, color and price. Mr. Rao attaches maximum importance to the product attributes of lightweight and spaciousness as compared to other attributes. He already has some kind of attitude towards the various brands developed in the stage of information search, which will affect his final decision. 4. Purchase decision. In the evaluation stage, Mr. Rao has ranked the various brands in terms of his first, second and third preference. In short, he has made up his mind about which brand he wants to buy. However, Mr. Rao may finally end up buying a brand which is not his most preferred. For instance, when Mr. Rao goes to the shop to make his purchase, the shopkeeper's negative remarks about his, Mr. Rao, most preferred brand may make him change his mind. 5. Post-purchase behavior. After purchasing the briefcase, if Mr. Rao finds that its performance or utility matches up to his expectation, he will feel satisfied with his purchase. The satisfaction will reinforce his perceived favorable image of the brand, which is likely to be extended to the entire range of products manufactured by the company, and also he may strongly recommend the brand when his friends ask his advice. Mr. Rao may do the opposite if he feels that dissatisfaction has a powerful influence on potential customers. I want to be a good host. I must treat my guest well. Perhaps I can make my drawing room look luxurious, or I can serve snacks hot fresh, but that is a time-consuming job. Else I can serve chilled drinks, for which I need a refrigerator. Let me visit the two most friendly dealers. Listen to them and make the choice there itself. I am happy I purchased this refrigerator. I am using it for many more things. I want to be a good host. I must treat my guest well. Perhaps I can make my drawing room look luxurious, or I can serve snacks hot fresh, but that is a time-consuming job. Else I can serve chilled drinks, for which I need a refrigerator. 2.7 Influence of situational variables on shopping behavior. Situational variables refers to all those factors particular to time frame and place of observation which do not follow from a knowledge of personal, intra-individual, and stimulus, choice alternative attributes. Such attributes range from store, location and layout, time of day, and the presence or absence of others. These can be classified into 4 distinct dimensions of situational influences. 1. Physical setting. 2. Social setting. 3. Temporal setting. 4. Task definition. Physical setting. The physical setting covers geographical location of the retail outlet, but C-N-Lo means the environment in which the consumer reside to access the shopping. CNRK, for example, if the store is very nearby or on the way to the office, a person can shop with convenience rather than driving all the way long. Social setting. The social setting describes the presence or absence, together with their social roles, role attributes and opportunities of interaction. The shoppers who are accompanied by others are referred to as social shoppers, and those who shops alone are called as non-solitary shoppers. Temporal aspects. This refers to the constraints such as time available for shopping and factors such as seasonal variables, which is particularly visible in the context of both fashion shopping and perishable purchases such as milk purchased normally at daytime and fashion appeal at the later part of the day. 2.8 Consumer images of retail stores. A consumer's image of the stores is the summation of his attitude towards various aspects of the store. Every retail store has an individuality that differentiates it from its competitors. The retailer must devise the strategies to communicate its individuality across its target segment of con and CR to build confidence in its merchandise and say _ISIS. It is argued to I ilker there is a degree of congruity of an individual self-image of a store or bralid to I strong possibility of positive behavior towards the store retail image dimensions to measure the image at a retail store T is essential to identify and aggregate the relevant consumer attitude to the merchandised detail displayed, sales force deployed location of stores, and the price levels of goods to be purchased. The dimensions which shape relevant consumer attitudes for a retail store are 1. Location convenience, which covers the following determinants: access routes, traffic barrier, travel time, parking availability. 2. Merchandise suitability, number of brands stocked, quality of line of merchandise, breadth of assortment, depth of assortment, number of outstanding departments in the store. 3. Price points, price of item, price of same item in other store, trading stamps or coupons and discounts. 4. Sales force and services, courtesy of sales force, produce knowledge of sales force, reliability of advertising and match with attributes, billing procedures, adequacy of credit arrangement, a delivery promptness and care, eating facilities in store. 5. Congeniality, store layout, store DDCOR, merchandise displays, class of customers visiting stores, store traffic and congestion. 6. Post-transaction satisfaction, satisfaction with goods in use, retail consumer, satisfaction with return and adjustments, satisfaction with price paid, satisfaction with accessibility of store. 2.9 Summary. Consumer behavior is the study of why, how, what, where, and how often do consumers buy and consume different products and services. Knowledge of consumer behavior is helpful to the retail marketer in understanding the needs of different consumer retail segments and developing appropriate retail marketing strategies for each segment. The study of consumer behavior also provides an insight into how consumers arrive at the purchase decision and the factors which influences their decision. Once the influencing variables have been identified, the retail marketer can manipulate them so as to induce in his consumers a positive purchase decision. Often the person who buys the product is not the person who actually uses it. Besides buyer and user, any person can influence the buying decision in the capacity of an initiator or influencer or decider. Now the questions: who should be the subject of focus for the marketer? To overcome this problem, in many cases, it is the household or the family and not the individual who is considered the subject of focus. However, a retail marketer should have a very sharply defined focus for an effective retail marketing strategy. Consumers' decision to purchase a product is influenced by a host of factors. All the factors that influence the consumer behavior may be broadly classified into 4 groups. 1. Psychological factor, motives, perceptions, attitudes. 2. Personal factors, age and life, cycle stages, occupation, income, lifestyle, personality. 3. Social factor, reference groups, family, roles, status. And 4. Cultural factors, culture, subculture, social class. In marking a purchase decision, the consumer goes through 5 stages. 1. Need recognition. 2. Information search. 3. Evaluation of alternative. 4. Purchase decision. And 5. Post-purchase evaluation. Situational are those which do not follow from knowledge of setting, social setting, temporal setting and task setting. Every retail store has an individuality that differentiates it from its competitors. A retailer must devise the strategies to which he spend money and time on various activities and interest and the opinions that he holds, personal and timeless. There are in general 4 dimensions of situation. They are: physical, communicates its individuality across its target segments of consumer to build confidence, in its merchandise and services. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates, and we will see you with the next chapter.